Hi people, what's up? How you all doing? Welcome back to another exciting video. Today we're checking out something from Camden David, and it's titled 18 tips to I wish I knew before visiting Croatia. Okay, I remember I filmed a video earlier about 18 things you need to know, like giving you advice on what you should know, especially if you're a tourist, what you should know before visiting Croatia, and they were so interesting. But in this video, this guy is going to talk almost something very similar, but probably things he wish he knew. 18 tips I wish I knew before visiting Croatia. So if you're a tourist, you want to travel to Croatia, you're planning to visit the country as a tourist or vacation, or you're relocating to Croatia, this is the best place for you. Okay, so I will advise you watch this video, drop your comments what you think about the video. If you're also a Croatian, you want to give one or two advice on what you think people should know before visiting Croatia, please drop in the comment section. Let's quickly see this together.
I spent a couple months living in Croatia. I even loved it so much I got married there a few years ago, but there are a few things that I wish I had known before visiting, so I'm going to share those with you today. So we're going to cover the best ways of getting around the country, because there's some important tips there. I'm going to talk about some cultural things and general tips that you'll want to know about, some places that you definitely shouldn't miss that a lot of tourists do end up missing, and I'm going to talk about some of those overrated places on the coast, and one place that I think is a must visit. So the first thing that you want to know is that Croatia geographically stretches really far north to south, and it's not really well connected like other European cities. There's not a good train network that will connect you from the north to the south, so you're really left with two options. You can take a bus, which in my experience wasn't the best, which is why I'd actually recommend having a rental car. It's really going to give you the access that you need to visit a lot of the places that most tourists end up skipping, and we'll talk about some of those later on in the video. I ended up renting through discovercars.com. It's been a pretty good experience, so if you're looking for somebody to rent through, I'll leave a link in the description so you can check them out. But the next thing to know is that Croatia does seem to rely a little bit more on cash than other European countries. Another really important thing to know is that in some countries, the cities that you're staying in, sometimes it's best to kind of be on the outskirts because you'll find better deals, and the outskirts are kind of better than the downtowns. But in my experience, I'd actually say it's the exact opposite. In Croatia, wherever you are, you want to stay as close to the center of downtown as you possibly can. But also note that while yes, hotels are great, Airbnbs have been a really positive experience for me in Croatia, and that's not just in the city centers, also in some of those more remote places that we'll talk about in just a minute. Another cultural thing to keep in mind is that Sundays are really quiet. People like to take that day as a day of rest, spend time with family, so expect a lot of businesses to be closed. So keep that in mind, maybe treat Sunday as a day tripping day and some time to spend on the beach. Speaking of the beaches, do make sure to note that most of the beaches in Croatia, while they are beautiful, they are not sandy. They tend to be rocky beaches, so be prepared for that. Maybe bring some water shoes. It's going to help a lot because you're going to want to spend a lot of time on the beaches. Another thing to note, and this is a mistake that I think a lot of tourists make, is recognize that Croatia is not just the Dalmatian coast. While yes, it has some beautiful beaches, there's plenty to see, and we'll talk about that in a minute, there's a lot more to see inland. One of those places that I think is really important to see is Zagreb. It's the capital of Croatia. It often gets overlooked because it's nowhere near the water, but in my opinion, it's one of the most special places in the country. I spent a full month living there, and I thought it was a great place for a couple of reasons. One, it's not touristy like the Dalmatian coast, which means you're gonna get to see the real local culture, which I think is pretty special. Also note that Zagreb is gonna give you great access to some other places like Ljubljana, which is the capital of Slovenia, another place that I don't think that you should miss. That's only about an hour and a half, 2-hour train ride from Zagreb. And another place from Zagreb that is well worth seeing is Plitvice National Park. It is unbelievable, probably the most beautiful place in all of Europe that we've ever seen. It is a national park with just these lakes that are absolutely stunning, a must-see, and the best way to access it is just driving from Zagreb. It's about a 2-hour drive. Yes, you can take some of those buses, but this is one of those instances where that rental car will probably come in handy. So definitely make sure to check that out and make sure to buy your tickets in advance because it is something that you need tickets to. But I want to tell you about one other place that some tourists miss. This one is a little bit closer down down on the coast, but it's again an inland day trip that is just as beautiful as Plitvice, and that is Krka National Park. It's some waterfalls, and again, just stunning scenery. It's about an hour and a half drive from either Split or Zadar, kind of like right in the middle of those. So a really easy day trip from either of those destinations, but again, it's gonna be easiest to have a rental car. But let's talk about some of those main spots on the coast that you're likely gonna wanna hit. I wanna tell you about the one that I think is the most underrated first, then I'll tell you about the one that I think is overrated and the one that you absolutely can't miss. So that most underrated one that I think a lot of tourists end up skipping over is Zadar. And I think a lot of people skip over Zadar because they choose Split, and I get that, but Zadar is also right up against the water, and it's gonna give you a little bit more realistic feel of what local culture is actually like. And they've got the sea organ and the sundial, which are right up against the coast. They are beautiful. The waves literally make music.
Wow.
And if you go at
Amazing.
sunset, you've got this like solar sundial thing that is charging up throughout the day. It makes this light show at night. It is just absolutely spectacular,
so
something that you definitely
oh my
shouldn't
gosh.
miss. But let's talk about that place that I think is most overrated, and I already mentioned it a little bit, and it is Split. I didn't love Split as much as a lot of other people do, and I think there are a few reasons for that. One, what I'm typically looking for when I travel is the local culture, and for me, I felt like Split was the most touristy of all the places on the coast. Yes, they had a beautiful palace, but they really seemed to commercialize it in, I don't know, kind of this inauthentic way, and it just kind of felt like a hyped up Miami, a lot of wealthy people, a lot of just yachts and party scene, which just isn't the vibe that I'm typically looking for. It just didn't feel like the rest of Croatia to me, so maybe you'll have a better experience than I did, but it wasn't my favorite. But the place that I absolutely would advise you to visit, which I know is also touristy, is Dubrovnik. It is different because it is just absolutely stunning. They have this raw beauty that Split, in my opinion, does not have. There's a reason Game of Thrones picked that place as the filming location. So beautiful that my wife and I actually decided to get married there a couple of years ago. If you want to learn more about Dubrovnik, I've got a whole video telling you what you need to know before visiting there, so you can watch that right here. I hope this was all helpful, and we'll catch you guys next time.
You guys, if you know anybody that's planning to visit Croatia, the person needs to come here today. The person needs to see this, because these are amazing tips. I must tell you, amazing tips. I know the difference between this video and the last one I did. He mentioned places, he mentioned beautiful places you should visit, places that he thinks in his opinion are overrated, and he mentioned why. Okay, he mentioned a lot of things, and I think one very important thing that a tourist, I think every tourist know already, is the fact that you need to always carry extra cash. Like very, very important. Imagine going out as a tourist person and then you're not carrying extra cash, right? I feel like it's something that you should. I think something I just know off of my head also is, as a tourist, if you're visiting Croatia, you know, you should always take your identity card, your ID card, or your passport, just a form of identification, okay, just to avoid, you know, one or two, you know, just I don't know, it's just a safety measure, just something to just help you go through your day. Do not forget your identity card, whatever, your passport or whatever. I think it's very important if you're a tourist person. I think Croatia is a very beautiful place. I love this video particularly because he mentioned places. You see this national park he's always mentioning. I want to visit that place. I've seen videos about this place, I've seen pictures. It is beautiful. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, you guys need to visit there. So if you're a tourist person, you know anybody that wants to visit, or you know people that are there but need to know one or two things, please send this video to them. Drop your comments on what you think about this video. If you have additional advice, you know, things people need to know about the country, please let us know in the comment section. I love Croatia already. Okay. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please smash the red subscribe button, like this video if you enjoyed it, turn on the post notification bell, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.